Hey guys, so you may or may not have seen some stuff about this on Twitter, but there have been some demo videos of OpenAI's new Sora video AI, and it is kind of surprising. Obviously, a lot of people probably feel it was only a matter of time before something like this came out. We have more and more compelling and convincing image AI. How long before we start adapting that to video? And the realism that they have been able to put in some of these videos is surprising and has great applications. They're saying that when they're ready to actually release this for use, it'll be able to create videos up to a minute long. Personally, I'm pretty excited about that, at least in theory, because as a YouTuber, the idea to have little B-roll cutaway type footage is attractive, both because it helps hold attention and it just kind of picks up the production value of the videos a little bit. It helps illustrate some of the points that you're doing. It's good flavor material as B-roll, you might treat it. And hiring animators to make some of that kind of stuff happen is pretty expensive. And when you're a small channel, especially, the idea of coming up with that and affording all that is a pretty big undertaking. And so the idea of being able to give prompts to an AI similar to ChatGPT or DALL-E and say, here's a 15-second clip that I have in mind, make it of a this and such happening, a wall falling over and this guy jumping through it and looking shocked, or, whatever it is. The idea that it could do that and make it look good and you could just use it on demand is pretty exciting. But of course, the immediate concern a lot of people have, and rightly so, the minute technology like this is unveiled is, could you impersonate celebrities, public figures, etc., doing things they never did, saying things they never said? How could that be taken advantage of? And that's a real concern. And in an article I was reading, the White House is apparently already very conscious of this, and they're talking about cryptographically embedding videos. And so, as I understand it anyway, the idea would be they would release a public key that the internet at large, news networks, etc., would have, and that key only works when paired with a private key that's going to be contained within videos. And theoretically, then, only the White House in this example would have the private key that is woven into their videos. And so that would be a way of making sure that a video you're watching actually came, say, from the White House, if it's of the president talking or something like that. Because theoretically, any fake video wouldn't have that private key, and so it would fail that check. At a glance, that seems like a pretty good measure. That's way out of my pay grade to weigh in on how secure that actually is. All I could really say from an armchair standpoint is we'll see, just because in cybersecurity in general, there's a lot of fail-safes that seem pretty strong, and then you give it 6 months or a year, and some hacker has figured it out. And so who knows? But I'm also curious about, though, in that story is the White House and the FCC that has talked about this and that kind of technology. They're claiming that they're going to lobby to make it illegal to impersonate a political figure in these kinds of videos. And while I could see the reason for that being true, what I kind of wonder is that only going to be for political figures, or are we going to make it blanket illegal to impersonate anybody? That'll be interesting to see unfold, but it was something that crossed my mind reading the article that and a couple of the articles that I stumbled across trying to dig into this did not really elaborate on. So if I can find a better answer to that, I'll do it in a follow-up video, or maybe I'll even comment down below on this one. If you guys happen to know or have suspicions based on stuff you've come upon, please share that in the comments below. I love reading that kind of stuff, and it's a good way for the community to kind of co-op all of this as it unfolds. Short term, some people are saying there's not as big of a thing to worry about with forgeries in these videos too, because there's always weird little oddities, just like an image AI. DALL-E, particularly as a part of ChatGPT, really seems to have a hard time with words and images, and so it's good at drawing, say, people with a background, but if there's a sign in the background or a TV or some element in the image that has words on it, it's often like nonsense words written in inconsistent fonts, and the AI has a really hard time with that for some reason. And so often you're like trying to avoid it using words. People have given tips before about don't mention when you're giving it the prompt that the image is going to be for a blog, because for some reason, once it thinks blog, now it thinks it has to put words in the image, which then makes it weird. There's similar weirdness in some of the video, AI-driven video that's come out so far. Like, a good way to think of it is it understands how things look, but not why. So it doesn't always understand things like laws of physics and how gravity works and stuff, or that I would have to pick up this notebook in order to be holding it. And so if you don't understand that that's the sequence that has to happen, weird things can come up, like I'm standing here talking and then out of nowhere, bam, like notebook just appears in my hand suddenly, or things happen out of context, or things don't always totally obey the laws of physics. Right now, there's enough of that going on that people say you can often tell when something's an AI generated video. But one look at these that they released as sort of a showcase of this Sora, and you can see that the technology has advanced light years beyond where it was a ways back. There's some obvious questions that come up with that too, even on YouTube. Like, there's already been AI influencers that have come up with where it's just like an animated person that doesn't exist, that can talk and show all these photos of itself on Instagram, and now in some cases even do video content. How does that change things for human YouTubers going forward? I just blogged about this a little bit on Creative Force's blog. I'll put the link in the description. Weighing in on AI and blogging for SEO and how that's kind of changing and things people should be bearing in mind there. And I think it's going to end up being a similar matter where it comes to YouTube video kind of material, where you subscribe to somebody largely because you like that person, the way they talk, how real they are, maybe you like their humor, whatever it is that draws you to it. It's not clear how much an AI is going to be able to replicate that, because you can already tell videos that are basically just fed a script and it's narrating. The quality is pretty inconsistent there and generally sounds pretty flat. And I don't know, when you put a computer-generated person doing the talking, yeah, that makes it seem a bit more real, but to what degree does it carry real charisma onto the camera? And much like I said about blogging, AI doesn't have any practical experience doing certain things. It's never unclogged a toilet or a sink drain. It's never run a marketing agency. It's never run a retail store, etc. And so, other than being fed information, which may or may not be all that unique or interesting, to what degree could it even talk about certain things? Now, that's not me saying it can't be done, because that seems like a risky proposition these days with the way that AI is advancing. The person who stands up and says, that'll never happen, well, probably 6 months later, it'll be happening. All I can do is say, I am curious about it, like anybody on YouTube probably is, and I will be following it. And this is kind of a topic I'd like to delve into a bit more on this channel, as a tech channel. When I had originally conceived of this channel, it was to sort of weigh in on the ways that our lives were all collectively becoming more and more digital everything, and how that was in some ways sort of invasive in our lives, but in other ways rewarding and kind of augmenting things that we're doing. And a lot of my content over time has become about tech products and gadgets and things, which is fine, but I would like more of the channel to become weighing in on things like this that are evolving in real time. And so you can stay tuned for more of that. And if that's something that you'd like to see more of as well, definitely let me know in the comments below. There's a give and take. Obviously, on any YouTube channel, you want to give your audience the things that they're looking for, but you also have to make sure that what you're creating feels right by you, so that you don't feel the burnout that a lot of the other big channels are talking about right now even. And that seems like one of the biggest ways to avoid that is to say to yourself, let's not get too carried away in the algorithm and making everything just about views, because then you're sort of a prisoner to your own success or to the algorithm. I think that's everything I wanted to say for this video, so I thank you guys for watching. Look forward to your comments down below, and I will be posting more about this as it develops. I'll catch you guys in the next video.